When 65-year-old Jackie Chan appears on the Los Angeles-based show The Voice, host Michael Reeves is prepared to crush him with provocations. But a shining gold medallion around Jackie's neck becomes an unexpected weapon. Instead of the usual chaos of action movies, Chan starts a battle of wits that turns the show upside down. Who will emerge victorious? Find out right now. Los Angeles. The studio of Voices Unraveled hums with raw energy, a sleek battlefield of light and sound. Spotlights slice through the air, catching the glint of crimson and gold LED panels that pulse like a living thing. The audience buzzes, their whispers sharp with anticipation. Tonight's guest is no ordinary mark. Michael Reeves, a lean 42-year-old with predator's eyes and a razor tongue, stands at the helm. He adjusts his jacket, his smirk a weapon honed over years of breaking guests live on air. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice cuts through the noise, smooth but edged with menace. Tonight, we've got a legend, Jackie Chan. The crowd erupts, a roar that shakes the floor. From the shadows, Jackie steps out, 65 years old, a quiet storm in a tailored black suit. No tie, just the way he likes it. His hair falls loose, framing a face carved by time and resilience. Around his neck, a golden dragon medallion gleams, catching the light like a dare. He moves with that signature grace, the kind you'd see before he flips a thug over a table in some Hong Kong alley. But this isn't a fight scene. Or is it? He nods to the crowd, a faint smile tugging at his lips, and settles into the chair across from Reeves. The air tightens. Reeves doesn't waste a beat. He leans forward, elbows on the desk, fingers steepled like a man sizing up his prey. Jackie Chan, he says, letting the name hang. The man who's dodged bullets, broken bones, and somehow stayed everyone's favorite uncle. Welcome. His tone drips with charm, but there's a glint in his eye. Trouble's brewing. Jackie dips his head, calm as ever. Good to be here, Michael. His voice is steady, warm, but there's steel beneath it, the kind that's held up through decades of chaos. The audience leans in. Voices Unraveled isn't a cozy chat show. It's a gauntlet. Reeves thrives on cracking people open, peeling back their masks until they stumble over their own words. He's brought down politicians, CEOs, even a smug billionaire who left the stage red-faced and silent. And now, his gaze locks on that golden medallion dangling against Jackie's chest. To Reeves, it's not jewelry, it's a target. So, Jackie, he starts, voice dipping low, we're in 2025. The world's moved on, tech, science, reason. And here you are, wearing what, a dragon? You still believe in fairy tales. The jab lands. A few in the crowd chuckle, nervous, waiting for Jackie to flinch. But he doesn't. His fingers brush the medallion, a slow, deliberate motion, like a fighter feeling the weight of his weapon. Fairy tales? He echoes, tilting his head just enough to catch Reeves off guard. Tell me, Michael, do you believe in justice? Reeves blinks, a flicker of confusion crossing his face. What? Jackie leans forward now, his eyes steady, unyielding. Justice. Fairness. You can't weigh it, can't put it under a microscope. Does that make it a fairy tale too? The studio hushes. Reeves smirks, but's tighter now, less certain. That's different, he snaps, waving a hand. Justice is real, tangible. Jackie cuts in, soft but sharp. Is it? Show me. A ripple runs through the crowd. Some gasp, some shift in their seats. Reeves grips his pen, the first crack in his armor showing. He'd expected an easy spar, a guest who'd dodge or deflect. But Jackie's not dodging. He's stepping into the ring, and the fight's just begun. The lights dim for a split second, a glitch or a signal, and when they flare back, Reeves adjusts his posture, masking the slip. All right, Jackie, he says, voice hardening, let's get real. That dragon, it's not just a trinket. It's a symbol. Faith, superstition, whatever you call it. You're a smart guy. Why cling to something like that? The question's a hook, baited and barbed. Jackie doesn't bite. He smiles, small and knowing. Why do you wear that watch, Michael? Time's real, sure, but that's not about time, is it? The crowd murmurs, a low rumble of surprise. Reeves glances at his wrist, a sleek, overpriced chronometer, and his jaw tightens. Jackie's flipped it, effortless, a move as smooth as any stunt. The host recovers fast, leaning in closer. Cute, he says, voice dripping acid, but I'm not the one under the lights here. Jackie meets his stare, unshaken. Aren't you? The air crackles. Round one's over, and nobody's bleeding, yet. But the audience knows this isn't the showdown Reeves planned. Jackie's not just here to talk. He's here to win. The studio of Voices Unraveled feels smaller now, the air thick with unspoken stakes. Michael Reeves leans back in his chair, his predator's grin faltering just enough for the cameras to catch, a flicker of doubt in his steel-gray eyes. Jackie Chan sits across from him, still as a coiled spring, the golden dragon medallion glinting under the harsh lights. The audience holds its breath, sensing blood in the water. Reeves wanted a quick kill, but Jackie's first parry, turning the watch back on him, has the host scrambling to regroup. All right, Jackie, Reeves says, his voice sharpening like a blade pulled from its sheath. Let's cut the games. That dragon on your neck, it's not just style. It's a statement. Faith, myths, old-world nonsense. You've seen the world, fought in it. Why drag around something so outdated? The word lands heavy, a deliberate jab meant to sting. A few in the crowd shift, waiting for Jackie to buckle. He doesn't. His fingers graze the medallion again, a quiet ritual, and his lips curve into a faint, disarming smile. Outdated, Jackie repeats, his tone light but piercing. Tell me, Michael, what's more outdated, believing in something bigger than yourself, or thinking everything's solved with a screen and a button? The room stirs. A murmur ripples through the seats, a mix of gasps and stifled laughs. Reeves' smirk twitches, his fingers tightening on the desk's edge. That's a dodge, he snaps. Faith's caused wars, chaos, centuries of it. You can't dress that up. Jackie nods, slow and deliberate, like he's heard this 100 times. Sure, he says, voice steady as stone. People have twisted faith, used it to hurt, to control. But tell me this, how many wars came from greed? From power? You gonna blame money next? Or a fist? He leans forward now, just an inch, but it's enough to shift the gravity in the room. Reeves opens his mouth, then shuts it, caught off guard. The crowd feels it, a crack in the host's armor, widening fast. You're slick, Reeves says, forcing a chuckle that doesn't reach his eyes. But let's not pretend. That dragon, it's a crutch. People cling to symbols when they're scared, when they can't face reality. He's reaching now, clawing for control. Jackie tilts his head, studying him like a master watching a student overstep. Scared, he echoes. Maybe. But what's braver? Facing the world with nothing to hold on to, or admitting you don't have all the answers? The silence hits like a punch. Reeves blinks, his rhythm broken. The audience leans forward, hooked, as Jackie presses on, calm but relentless. You talk about reality, Michael. I've seen it. Broken bones, dark nights, people lost in places you wouldn't step foot in. That dragon? It's not a crutch. It's a reminder I'm still standing. His words land soft but heavy, a quiet defiance that fills the space. Reeves recovers, barely, his grin returning like a mask snapped back into place. Nice story, he says, voice dripping with acid. But stories don't change facts. Faith's a relic. Your dragon's proof of that. Jackie doesn't flinch. Facts, he says, almost amused. Facts tell you how to live. They don't tell you why. The crowd erupts, claps, shouts, a wave of noise that drowns Reeves' next breath. He glares at Jackie, his knuckles white on the pen he's clutching like a lifeline. He'd swung hard, aiming to knock the legend down. But Jackie didn't just block. He struck back, and the host's footing's slipping. The lights flare, signaling a break, and Reeves mutters, "We'll see," under his breath. Jackie just sits there, unshaken, the dragon gleaming like a quiet taunt. Round two's coming, and the fight's far from over. The studio lights snap back on, bathing Voices Unraveled in a harsh, unforgiving glow. Michael Reeves adjusts his stance, his smirk a brittle shell as he tries to claw back control. The audience is restless now, their energy crackling like static. Jackie Chan's last strike still echoes in their ears, a calm defiance that turned the host's barbs into dust. Jackie sits steady, the golden dragon medallion resting against his chest, a silent sentinel. Reeves knows he's bleeding ground. He can feel the shift in the room, the way the crowd's eyes linger on his opponent. He needs a hit, and he needs it now. Welcome back, Reeves says, his voice tight, laced with a venom he can't quite hide. Before the break, Jackie here spun a pretty tale about his little dragon, how it's some noble reminder. But let's get real. He leans forward, elbows digging into the desk, his gaze locked on Jackie like a hawk on a mouse. That symbol's tied to centuries of mess, wars, oppression, blind fanaticism. You wear it like it's harmless, but it's got blood on it. How do you square that? The accusation cuts sharp, a blade aimed at Jackie's core. The crowd hushes, some nodding, others tensing. Reeves is swinging for the kill. Jackie doesn't blink. He lets the words hang, heavy in the air, then shifts slightly, his fingers brushing the medallion, as if testing its weight. Blood, he says, voice low but clear, slicing through the tension. Yeah, there's blood in history, plenty of it. But let's not play games, Michael. You ever hold an axe? Reeves squints, thrown. What? Jackie presses on, unrelenting. An axe chops wood, or heads. Same tool, different hands. You blaming the axe. The room jolts. A ripple of murmurs spreads, a few sharp gasps cutting through. Reeves' jaw tightens, his fingers twitching on the desk. That's a cop-out, he snaps, but his tone wavers, less certain. Jackie shakes his head, slow and deliberate. No cop-out. Truth. People twist anything. Faith, laws, even words like yours. Doesn't mean the thing itself is rotten. It's the hands holding it. His eyes lock on Reeves, steady, unyielding, and the host feels the weight, like a punch he didn't see coming. Reeves scrambles, his grin flashing back, but it's forced now, a mask slipping. So you're saying faith's clean? That it's just misunderstood? He's grasping, voice rising, desperate to turn the tide. Jackie tilts his head, a faint smile tugging at his lips. I'm saying it's a fire, Michael. Warm a house or burn it down. Depends who's striking the match. The crowd stirs again, louder this time, a wave of claps breaking out. Reeves' eyes narrow. He's losing them, and he knows it. You're good with metaphors, Reeves says, acid dripping from every word. But this isn't poetry. People suffered, died, because of symbols like that. He points at the medallion, finger trembling slightly. Jackie nods, calm as ever. They've died for flags too. For borders. For ideas you'd call reason. You gonna toss those out? The question lands like a stone, and Reeves falters, his comeback snagging in his throat. The audience erupts, shouts, applause, a roar that shakes the studio. Jackie leans back, relaxed, while Reeves grips his pen, so hard it might snap. He'd aimed to bury Jackie in history's weight, but the legend turned it back, effortless, like flipping a stunt gone wrong. The lights flicker, a signal of time running thin, and Reeves mutters, "This isn't over," his voice a growl. Jackie just watches him, silent, the dragon gleaming, a quiet promise of more to come. The studio of Voices Unraveled crackles with tension as the lights flare back to life. Michael Reeves sits rigid, his knuckles white around the pen, he's clutching like a drowning man grips a rope. The crowd's roar from Jackie Chan's last blow still lingers, a hum that won't fade. Reeves' eyes burn, his control slipping through his fingers like sand. He'd planned to dismantle Jackie, but now the 65-year-old legend holds the room in his quiet grip. The golden dragon medallion glints under the spotlights, a beacon of calm defiance. Reeves needs to strike back, and he needs it to hurt. "We're back," he says, his voice a forced drawl, masking the tremor beneath. Jackie's been weaving some clever lines. Faith's just a tool, not the problem, blah blah. But let's strip it down. He leans in, elbows sharp on the desk, his stare a dagger aimed at Jackie's chest. That dragon, that symbol, it's not innocent. It's a leash. People use it to judge, to divide, to feel superior. You wear it like it's personal, but it's a loaded gun. What do you say to the ones it's hurt? The words hit hard, raw and accusing, a final gambit to flip the board. The audience stiffens, caught in the crossfire. Some nod, others hold their breath. Jackie doesn't flinch. He lets the silence stretch, thick and heavy, his fingers resting lightly on the medallion. Then he speaks, soft but steady, like a blade sliding free. "Hurt," he says, eyes locking on Reeves. "Yeah, it's happened. People take anything, faith, words, even a fist, and make it a weapon. But tell me, Michael, why does that dragon rattle you so much?" The question cuts deeper than Reeves' attack, a sudden pivot that turns the mirror back. The host blinks, caught off balance. What? Jackie leans forward now, just enough, his voice quiet but piercing. You keep swinging at it, wars, pain, division. But it's not the symbol you're mad at, is it? It's something in you. The room freezes. Reeves' smirk vanishes, his face a mask cracking at the edges. This isn't about me, he snaps, but his voice shakes, betraying him. Jackie tilts his head, calm and unrelenting. Isn't it? You're fighting something you won't name. What's it hiding? The air turns electric. The crowd gasps, a collective intake of breath. Jackie's flipped the game, and Reeves is stumbling. The host forces a laugh, sharp and hollow. Nice try, Jackie, but I'm not the one on trial. His words are brittle, a shield too thin to hold. Jackie watches him, eyes steady, unyielding. Maybe you should be, he says, soft as a whisper, sharp as a strike. The silence that follows is deafening, a void where Reeves' comeback should have been. The audience erupts, claps, shouts, a swell of sound that crashes over the stage. Reeves' hand twitches, the pen slipping from his grip, rolling across the desk. He'd thrown everything, history, guilt, raw accusation, and Jackie didn't just dodge. He turned it into a mirror, reflecting Reeves' own cracks. The host scrambles, his grin a ghost now. You're slippery, he mutters, voice low, almost a growl. Jackie leans back, relaxed, the dragon gleaming like a quiet taunt. I just listen, he says, and it lands like a final blow. The lights dim, a signal of time ticking out, but the shift is clear. Reeves is cornered, and Jackie's still standing, unshaken. The crowd knows it. The host knows it. And the fight's not over yet. The studio of Voices Unraveled hums with a strange, heavy stillness as the final segment begins. The lights burn bright, but they can't mask the shift. Michael Reeves sits stiff, his once sharp grin reduced to a thin, brittle line. Across from him, Jackie Chan remains a rock, his 65-year-old frame relaxed, the golden dragon medallion catching glints like a steady pulse. The audience is on edge, their earlier cheers now a taut silence. They've watched Reeves unravel, piece by piece, under Jackie's calm, relentless gaze. The host's last strike fell flat, and now he's scrambling for one final jab to save face. All right, Jackie, Reeves says, his voice clipped, a forced edge cutting through. You've danced around it all night, turned my questions into riddles, dodged the hard stuff. But let's end this plain. That dragon, that faith, it's a crutch for a world that's moved on. You really think it still fits? He leans forward, desperation seeping through his bravado, eyes daring Jackie to crack. The crowd holds its breath. This is Reeves' last stand, a raw plea to reclaim the ring. Jackie doesn't rush. He lets the words settle, his fingers brushing the medallion one last time, then meets Reeves' stare with a quiet, unshakable calm. Moved on, he says, voice soft but firm, like a stone dropped in still water. The world got faster, sure, screens, machines, answers at your fingertips. But people? They're still lost, still hurting. You think tech fills that hole? He pauses, letting it sink in. That dragon's not a crutch, Michael. It's a light, for me, for anyone who needs it. The room shifts. Reeves opens his mouth, but Jackie cuts through, steady and sure. You've been asking why I wear it. Maybe ask yourself why it bothers you. The words land like a blow. No anger, no flash, just truth. Reeves freezes, his jaw tightening, his comeback snuffed out before it can spark. The audience feels it, a ripple of realization, a tide turning. The host's eyes flicker, a crack in his mask widening, and for the first time, he has nothing to throw back. Then it breaks. A single clap pierces the silence, then another, and suddenly the studio explodes, shouts, applause, a roar that shakes the walls. People rise, hands crashing together, a wave of awe for the man who didn't fight but still won. Reeves forces a smile, thin and sour. Well, Jackie, he says, voice hoarse, you've got away with words. Thanks for that. He gestures vaguely, a defeated flick of the hand. Jackie nods, simple and genuine. Thanks for listening, Michael. The lights flare one last time as the show cuts out. Jackie stands, no grand exit, just a quiet step off the stage, past the crew, past the chaos into the night. Reeves stays seated, staring at the desk, the pen he'd gripped like a lifeline now still. The crowd spills out, buzzing, their voices carrying fragments of the clash. Jackie's lines replayed, dissected, admired. Later, he posts a single note online: "You don't have to see my light to let it shine." No fanfare, no gloat, just him. In the dressing room, Reeves sits alone, the echo of applause a bitter hum in his ears. He'd built his throne on breaking others, but tonight, Jackie didn't break. He turned the game inside out, and the world saw it. The legend walked away, not with a crown, but with something heavier, the quiet weight of a win no one saw coming.